This is TWiT.
You yesterday were at, not yesterday, Wednesday, we're at the Samsung event where they announced about 8 phones and
at least 8.
A dishwasher. I don't know what else. They did it pretty quickly. They breezed through it, and they did something opposite of Apple. Usually Apple saves the best for last.
Right.
One more thing, right? They launched with the phone, the Fold. They also did something that, I don't know, maybe this was good, maybe bad. They announced the price.
And then everybody audibly booed in the
gasps. Yeah. April 26th, it's the second foldable phone after the Royale. And but it's from Samsung, so it'll be nicely made. It has Samsung makes the screens. Did you get to see it?
Nope. I saw it in DJ Co's hands very far away, but again, that was very far away.
So it wasn't in the demo room.
Absolutely not.
All the other stuff was. In fact, you brought us some buds. I almost call them Google buds. They're Samsung buds.
Some buds.
Those look pretty sweet. And those have a wireless charging case, unlike the Apple AirPods.
How do they work?
Oh, and they have magnets to hold the things in. So when they announced that the Fold was $1,980, there was an audible gasp.
It was a whoa.
But it's not even the most expensive folding phone now. Today, Huawei announced the Mate X, which folds. So the best way to describe, tell me if I'm wrong on this, but the best way to describe the Galaxy Fold is to take 2 phones and put them together. It's going to be thick like that, and then one side, put the screen on one side, so it's a small screen, but 4-inch screen on that, and then you open it up, and that's the bigger screen.
Yep.
But if you do that, you realize it's not that big. It's kind of squarish big.
It's tablet-sized, nearly.
Well, nearly.
Some of them go into 8 inches. Some of them go into 7 inches.
So that's the Galaxy Fold, but then the Mate X goes the other way. So
it goes like a temple. Oh.
It's so weird. So you see both screens on it. We've created a mock-up to help you understand it. I don't know how this is better in any way.
Well, it's a little easier on
and
you.
It's a little confusing because it seems to be made of old iPhones, but I'll hide the Apple logo. So the screen goes all the way around the outside.
Yeah.
But is there a piece cut out of that one, Leo? Like, because it sort of folds into itself, right? There's a little line where the cameras are on.
Yeah, it's a trifold.
For the Mate, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
It's weird, but I kind of like it.
Don't you worry about the hinge, though? See that where that screen is?
Yeah.
Isn't it
that's why they're not letting anybody look at it.
Same thing with the Galaxy Fold.
Yeah.
How these are polymer screens, so they're flexible. But I worry how is you gonna be able to open it 10 times and then it breaks?
That's what I'm thinking too. Like an old Trapper Keeper.
Yeah.
They were made of plastics. They would fall apart halfway through the school year.
It's a Galaxy Trapper Keeper.
Yeah.
That's actually a better name. I think that's a better name.
Nostalgia's very hot right now for my generation. You want to sell it to me, right? We're the spenders right now, so.
Yeah, but I think even your generation ain't going to spend $3,000. I didn't mention.
We don't have the money.
So the Galaxy Fold's $1,980. The Huawei, what was it, $2,600?
$2,300 for the base model or whatever.
Yeah, don't make the American government look at you.
Well, and that's the thing. You won't be able to buy it in the U.S., so you don't even have to think about it.
Well, if you happen to bring it over from overseas or buy it on AliExpress.
You can buy. I bought a P20, even though it wasn't sold in the U.S. I was able to buy it through some sort of online thing. The carriers won't sell it, and Huawei doesn't officially sell it in the U.S. I asked Huawei about that, and they said, if you don't have a carrier deal in the United States, there's no point in marketing a phone. You're not going to sell an appreciable number.
Very true.
Tell that to Google, though. They've done all right with. Well, I guess the Pixel has a Verizon and T-Mobile carrier deal, so maybe that's okay.
OnePlus was the one that
they tried. They did the reservation system.
Well, no, they're with T-Mobile now.
Yeah,
and they work on Verizon, which has been great for them. I mean, that's really helped their bottom line.
You need that. So, Seth, you're the richest guy here.
Excuse me.
We're just podcasters. You're a publisher. Which is is either of these foldable phones? I think there's more, right? This isn't the only one. There's going to be a ZTE foldable phone
and
too.
a TCL.
TCL.
Yes.
TCL. I always want to say TLC. That's just
Rest in
my
peace,
favorite.
Lisa Left Eye Lopez.
Yes.
I always
exactly.
want to say Tickle.
Didn't Xiaomi have a trifold coming?
Yeah.
Their CEO,
CEO
in a tweet sat there unfolding and folding it, but that, to me, that doesn't really count as even a prototype. It's just
fun.
Well, these things are barely prototypes, the ones that they're announcing.
Well,
I mean, at that price and they're not letting the journalists even hold them or take them home or anything. So to me, it's kind of like, we'll price them so high that almost nobody buys them or wants to buy them. We'll make a very small number of these, and we'll get our beta testers, to pay for the devices.
So you wouldn't rush out April 26th? Isn't that far off? You wouldn't rush out April 26th and buy a Galaxy Fold?
Well, it's kind of crazy. I mean, Vlad Savoff from The Verge was discussing, like, if this is coming out April and they're not giving it, like, they're not letting journalists touch it yet, what is happening between now and April that's going to make these things ready for
developers?
Human consumption?
They're for developers, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely got a prototype-y developer feel to it.
That's what it sounds like. Like when Project Tango came out, right? And it was like $600.
That was a really clunky phone.
It was. But the idea was to be a reference device, and this is just Samsung saying, hey, come to us for the reference device. You don't need to go to Google. We'll do it.
Yeah.
And look, Google supports us.
The form factor, like, it's cool. Like, I definitely would love to show people this. But, like, in day-to-day use, like, when I'm mobile, I'm probably using one hand. I'm walking. I don't want to unfold it and, fold it back up. And, and then, I don't know. This doesn't appeal to me in a way that
spark joy for you.
You know who
No.
You're doing Marie Kondo.
I know. I've really killed that joke too because I've said it too much on all that.
So I have to say, I know the audible gasp, but the reason Samsung said several times $1,980 is, here's a phone that's very distinctive. If you go to a meeting and you pull it out of your pocket and you open it up, everybody's going to go, oh, he has the $2,000 phone. That is the point of it, at least in some markets. I
totally agree. I feel like it's going to be one of those phones it's sort of like a gimmick in some ways, but it is also it's made for a very small group of people. It's the luxury of luxury devices, right?
Siren
it's this
call.
It's this crazy phone that if you pull it out of your pocket, people will, at least for a very short time, be impressed.
Well,
maybe.
I mean, Apple sold, what was that, an $18,000 Apple Watch when they first came out?
I never saw anyone with it, though.
Solid gold. Yeah. But I mean, the people
get better friends.
But it's a status symbol. If you are wearing a solid gold Apple Watch, people know, oh, he spent 20 grand on that.
Yeah.
It's like having a big diamond or something.
Yeah. It does look cool, though. I mean, I feel like I don't know what the sci-fi reference is, right? But
that's
the
part of the problem is there isn't one.
Yeah. Because if you watch The Expanse, the phones are like these clear, expandable sort of things versus these like physical, clunky.
And even 2001, they had an iPad.
Yeah.
But they didn't fold them. I don't think anybody in science fiction anticipated the idea that the screens would be so flexible.
That's very true, I think.
Yeah.
That seems a little odd that they can do that.
It does.
Isn't there circuitry on the back of it? Isn't it going to get metal fatigue or something? Is it going to wrinkle?
Samsung phones have 2 batteries.
Even the Huawei looked like it had a wrinkle where the hinge is.
Yeah, it's a little like wobbly.
It's wobbly.
Yeah,
and where the hinge is, they had the phones on max brightness, so if there was any darkness, it would kind of blur it out.
That's right. I heard about that.
Look at this. Look at this right here. Look at that hinge. First of all, this is the Huawei hinge, which is kind of funky. It looks like they're glued in. And look at that perceptible bulge over the hinge.
Bracelet.
Do you want that in your screen? I don't think so.
No.
So
then you got that big chunk on the right too.
Yeah, I don't know what that.
It looks like the charging port.
Yeah, there's your Type-C connector. It is very thin.
Are they just trying to figure out how to make people buy tablets again?
That is a great question.
I think they're desperate. They're desperate. There's nothing to distinguish any of the current flagship phones. They're all slabs of black glass, all of them.
But it is innovative still.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They need something that looks different, and I don't think market research. I don't think this is driven by research, and this is what people are demanding. This is more throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks, right? Or no?
Yes.
Yeah. Eventually, it will lead to other things. I like to think of this being used for kind of all-in-one devices. I think for like a different kind of market, maybe not necessarily like the high-end market, but a market of people who just would like to have a two-in-one sort of device because maybe that is the only thing that's accessible to them, and they would like to have that sort of portability and that malleability.
Do you think it's possible this is for the Asian market? Because I remember in Japan 15 years ago, long before the iPhone came out, there were all these interesting oddball folding phones with lots more capabilities than anything we had in the States. And I was told at the time, well, the reason is people don't have the room for personal computers. Yeah. So their phone is their computer. And so they have odd form factors because they're more functional.
That's what I think about beyond Asia too. I think also Latin America and other markets where this could really come in handy.
Maybe we don't fully appreciate the value.
So this is going to become, the more this becomes commoditized, I think the more we'll see a market for it. I think right now it very much is, well, how can developers, and I think this is very much an offering for people who want to explore that market and who are interested in it. You've been, I'm sure, watching Barcelona today. Were there any other announcements? Off Twitter, yes.
Yeah. Or anything else that LG announced a new G8? LG, I feel bad for LG. They're not even the also ran. I mean, they have nice phones.
I wouldn't feel bad for them. They are the other half of the South Korean tech market. They have it.
They have other markets.
They have a lot of stuff there. They own a lot. I mean, they own beauty brands. They have appliances.
There's LG Beauty?
Yeah, the brands have different other names, but if you look at the umbrella company, they're the ones. There's like an LG home division. I didn't know that. Yeah. They own products like Belief is a brand that they own.
Nokia, which the only claim to fame Nokia had was it made the only decent Windows phones. And one of the reasons they were so decent is they had a lot of 41 megapixel camera. Mm-hmm. They called it Pure View. Well, they're back. The new Nokia flagship has
spider eyes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cameras.
It looks like when you look at a spider's face.
It's
why indeed?
There's a 12 megapixel. All whatever have a 12 megapixel sensor and an f1.8 lens.
It almost looks like a joke.
Only two.
Like it's like an Onion article.
It's crazy. I guess they're not all. I don't know. There's 5 lenses, and I see on here 7 things.
One looks like a flash.
There are 2 of the 5 cameras shoot in color. The other 3 are monochrome. When you press the shutter, all 5 cameras shoot different exposures at the same time, and then they merge them together. This is kind of what the Pixel does with one lens very quickly. Into a single ultra-detailed shot. And Nokia says that individual cameras can even shoot multiple exposures on their own and add even more data to the final image. The result, a camera that offers new levels of detail and color. You have flash, and then there's some other sensors. So there's really only 5 cameras. I see that when I
People are liking the Nokia Android phones. They're doing well. I mean, they have some relative traction, I should say.
We should also point out they're not really made by Nokia. They're made by across the street.
HMD Global.
Just right across the street in Espoo from Nokia. But they have the Nokia brand. They're licensing the brand.
Can I ask you a question about the foldable phones that I couldn't figure out?
Yeah.
Is it going to are these phones going to have more battery power and last longer? Or is it because of the size of the screen, it requires the 2 batteries?
So I was a little surprised.
Because I couldn't figure that out.
The Samsung Fold only had a 4,000 or 4,100 milliamp hour battery, which is not...
When I heard that, I was like, is that enough?
not better,
huge.
Right?
The Huawei has 2 cells,
right?
One in each flap, and I think it's higher, but it's still not as high. I don't know.
For a thing that turns
that's
into
what
a
I'm
tablet.
waiting for is a better batbattery.
Yeah,
So
it's funny.
Like
they're
if you want
throwing.
to make me buy 2. Okay.
Yeah, they're trying all these crazy things, but really, just one thing they could do: bring back the removable battery. I always would buy with Samsung early Galaxies. I'd buy 2 batteries. And then I'd go as long as I could with one, and usually that was most of the day. And then if I I got off the airplane and it was dead, I'd open up the back, put in another battery, and I'm good to go.
Yeah.
It's true.
That's an easy thing to do. I don't understand. Anyway, they're all. If you want, we can look at these pictures. These are from the Nokia, and they look great, but you can never trust. The pictures.
It takes a while to figure out the real capabilities of a smartphone camera.
Actually, these are these shot by The Verge? Maybe these are shot by The Verge. I guess they are. But why there's a shower outside Mobile World Congress is beyond. Maybe they're not shot by The Verge. I don't know what's going on.
They might be in a pool area.
Okay. So there is depth. I don't know.
Bring context to it.
Things are strange in Finland. There's a sandwich.
Delicious. I mean, it actually kind of it doesn't look very.
Good.
I mean, it looks kind of lifeless to me. It looks.
It looks like very accurate, which if you're used to Samsung, which pops colors, accurate actually does feel like a little bit lifeless.
Now, have you seen the comparisons from the folks who have the GS10 on the ground at MWC right now?
No, what does it look
the
like?
Pixel 3s.
Oh, this is the question.
I apologize. I'm coming out of the blue, and we don't have anything to show. But
I'll find it.
But people have been posting on Twitter because they have the GS10s in their hand, and you can still see that they're doing that thing where they overprocess, oversaturate a photo, versus the Pixel 3, which also processes the photo, but it processes it to make it look more realistic. So it's just to show their side-by-side processing and how Samsung really tries to make it pop.
Google's Night Shot compared to the low-light photography on the Samsung, which doesn't even come close, but you could argue that the Google Pixel is over-brightening, because in dark images it looks like the lights are on.
Yeah.
Is over-brightening it. The Samsung seems to do a fairly decent job, but nowhere near as much detail.
That's the kicker. The detail is not as good.
And then Samsung over-sharpens as well, which always bothers me. If you pixel people, if you zoom in, you really see that over-sharpening.
Yeah, I agree.
On the other hand, Samsung's got the best screens by far. There's no question. When I go from my Apple, this is an OLED screen, the XS Max, or the Pixel 3 XL, to my Note 9, it's just like my eyes go, whoa. Because the Note 9 looks so much better, crisper and brighter.
Samsung gives itself the best screens, right?
Exactly. They don't sell them to Apple.
Right.
What are you, nuts?
Of course not.